Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jerry Sansing, and this is another edition of what's going on in Corpus Christi. It's basically, I'm the president of the Corpus Christi Taxpayers Association, and we have some real concerns that have cropped up over the past several months. And I'd like to go ahead and start with the city and how much angst there is towards that group these days. Now, in today's Caller Times, this is May the 17th, 2015, and this came out this morning. It says, "City needs to explain failure of grant project." And it's pretty pointed, folks. This is the editorial that's done by the editorial staff, I take it. And they are very outraged with the fact that it says, affordable housing venture formerly known as LULAC Village Park Apartments. Now, and it does state very clearly here, "and apologies to the League of United Latin American Citizens, which has no connection to this sketchy project." Okay, so I'm glad that they went ahead and put that information out. Now, the bottom line is the city, in all of its infinite wisdom, and I can smell the legal department all over this one down there, plus the city council with egg in their face, along with the manager and so forth, city manager. But they decided that they were going to, since the $400,000 in federal grant money had been squandered somewhere, was not accounted for, and the city asked why. It was designed to take a warehouse and convert it into apartments. And this is a pretty, I think, good view of what happened with that. Now, I won't say, theft and fraud and so forth. I don't know that much about the contract. But the city entered into a deal with this contractor that was going to put that veterans housing together, the apartments, and they cut a deal to take $150,000 back, in I guess to I don't know what word to use. Okay, to reconcile the loss of $400,000, and then they go on to say here, the editors do, that the deal is going to give them 5 years to sell that old warehouse over there, and they say it's up to its eyeballs in Johnson grass and weeds and so forth, and they're going to give this company 5 years to come up with $150,000, and if it sells for less than that, then they're going to go after these people that had absconded with the other $250,000. Okay. Now, $250,000 is a lot of money, folks, and that's taxpayers' money. So I wish you'd go back and take a look at this editorial. Like I say, it came out today on the 17th of May. This is a Sunday. And just read it. I'm not going to try to read the whole thing. I'm not going to attempt to do that. But I think it points out that deal with the city was very, very odoriferous, if you know what I mean, from the very beginning, and something stinks in here somewhere. Okay, so they've got until 2020 to come up with $150,000 in order to justify a loss of $250,000, is the way I read it. And this is not unusual from what I've seen with the city. Now, and I've been here a long time, and I've seen some real wild and woolly stuff. Now, one of my fellow Taxpayers Association members and the former president of the Taxpayers Association, Mr. Jack Gordy, has been in contact with the U.S. Department of Justice in the Disability Rights section, and his main problem with all this, folks, is the fact that we have palm trees right in the middle of sidewalks over in along Airlane, where that Gulfway Shopping Center is. And what we can do is, he's asking to have those torn down and the sidewalks paved back over so that the handicapped can utilize that sidewalk. That's a very busy street over there. It's a small mall across the street from the big one. And he's asked the city why they haven't done that. And I guess it's this same guy, Risley or Risley, whatever his name is, who's now the city attorney. And he kept telling Mr. Gordy that the ADA compliance, the American Disabilities Act, okay, was not did not cover, and they were grandfathered out of that since the sidewalk was built prior to, I think it's 1990, and now 25 years later roughly, the compliance has still not been made. So Mr. Gordy wrote back on the 12th of May a letter to the city council and questioned why they weren't in compliance, and he said that he knew that from contact with the Department of Justice Disability Rights Section that they were going to probably come down here and investigate all this and wonder why these people have not taken care of those sidewalks as per the act itself. So I don't know what's going to become of this, and the complaint was dated February 23rd, which is when Mr. Gordy first inquired about that. So I don't know. And then they say that the reason that they haven't done it, ladies and gentlemen, is because the palm trees were there and the sidewalk was in prior to the 1990 date that this act was instituted at the federal level through the U.S. Department of Justice. Now my question would be, if that is true, then why is the city every day I see in these older neighborhoods that precede 1990 and that Disabilities Act, why are they taking the corner sidewalk ends out and putting those down for wheelchair access? I mean, were we not grandfathered for anything and everything? I mean, that would save us a whole lot of money, wouldn't it? If it were true that we had been grandfathered in and that all these sidewalks in the town that were poured back in the 40s and 50s and 60s preceded any laws from the Department of Justice in the Disability Rights section. So I don't know. I guess what I ought to do is just go ahead and read Mr. Gordy's letter. He gave me permission to do this. Okay, it says, this is to the Department of Justice to whom this may concern. This is a follow-up on the complaint that I filed against the City of Corpus Christi for not complying with the American Disabilities Act. The complaint was dated February 23rd, 2015. A copy is enclosed, okay? Enclosed you will find copies of additional letters that I have sent to the city manager, the city attorney, and city council members. You will also find a copy of the response I received from the city manager. His response does not seem to be a true statement. It is only his opinion. The American Disabilities Act was passed in July 26th, on July 26, 1990. This means that the city of Corpus Christi has had 24 years and 10 months to remove the palm trees and widen the sidewalk along the east side of the 1300 block of Airline Road. I believe the city of Corpus Christi has had enough time to remove those palm trees and widen that sidewalk. Now, the problem is, folks, the trees, I'm going to stop the letter for a second. The problem is the trees are sticking right up out of the sidewalk over there. There's about 16 to 18 inches around that a person has to do in a wheelchair or go out into the street and come back up. You can't make it around where that little bunker is on the side of that sidewalk. So it's not passable by someone in a wheelchair. Okay. The city attorney continues to tell the city council that the city of Corpus Christi does not have to remove the palm trees or widen the sidewalk because the sidewalk was built before the American Disabilities Act was passed. I am hoping that your department will take action regarding this matter. The reason I am asking for your department to take action to get the sidewalk cleared is that it appears as if the city council nor city staff does not care enough without legal action. The sidewalk needs to be cleared so those in a wheelchair will be able to use the sidewalk. I am sure they will all appreciate your help. Well, the Disabilities Act, folks, was signed for a reason, and that was to help these people out. It's bad enough that you have to get around in a wheelchair, but to be obstructed like that is something else. Then I'm going to also get into some facts and figures here with Del Mar College. Now, I have been trying to figure out, along with a friend of mine, fellow taxpayer too, CPA, with very excellent credentials and so forth, what in the world's going on with some of the books over there at Del Mar College. Now, the bad debt write-offs over the past several years, about 6 or 7 of them, has been $2,838,000 and some odd dollars and cents. Now, I was real curious about that back in 2013 in August, and I asked for the a list of bad debts and so forth that had been written off, and I was presented with a 5-foot stack of papers without any questions, without any redactions, and without anything in there. And I searched through those with my CPA friend, Ed Bennett, and we located 3 key documents in that big stack that explained a bit about why $185,000 of that had been written off. Okay? Now, since that time, Del Mar College has gone to great lengths to withhold information from Mr. Bennett and myself, and to the tune of at one time when he asked for general ledgers, they were told, or he was told, it would cost him $26.7 million to have them provide that information, and it would take 120 years for them to produce that. And it was over, I think, 105 million plus documents that they said they would have to redact and so forth and so on. Now, I don't know why Del Mar, well, I have a good, my own opinion of why Del Mar is trying to withhold that information from the public. But it's not legal, folks, okay? Now, another thing I do is I ask for the billings from the attorneys that we've got, okay? And then there's one up in Austin called Graves, Daughtry, Heron, and Moody. Daughtry, okay? Okay, now, this is the billings that I got after several letters that were sent to me by the Attorney General's office and by Mr. Christian of Graves Daughtry up there in Austin, Texas. And they've tried to hold certain information from me and Mr. Bennett in regards to what they're doing. Now, it's horrified me, but let me tell you that and Del Mar does not give me anything in a timely manner. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and unfold this, and I'm going to show you or read to you some of the bills that have been done. Okay, now one of these checks that was sent to Graves Daughtry in response to their billing of Del Mar College. And let me find it here. Here's one of them that was written in February 26th in the amount of this year, $6,145. Then we've got another one that was $125. I don't know what that was all about. Okay. And then we've got another one over here that totaled $2,690. This was back in November 4th of 2014 is when that one was shipped out. And the other one, the 125, was October 14th. Okay? And then what I've got, and see, I'm just now getting this information. So on November the 18th, there's $2,675. And then there's one dated 12/4/2014. This one was $6,000. It looks like $640. And then we've got another one over here in the amount of $7,913.64. And I think some of this stuff totaled up into an amount that was somewhere around $34,000. Okay. Now, I've been through this, and a lot of this stuff is in response to Public Information Act requests, and I have a funny feeling that those are mine and Mr. Bennett's requests, and they spend, $800, $900, and $1,200 and so forth, many hours going over those bills. Now, another one that is a little bit concerning to me is the fact that we've got Dunn, Weatherford, Coffee, and Rivera, and Kasparidis. Okay, they're another one. Mr. Rivera is the he's the board attorney over at Del Mar College. I'm trying to lose my voice, folks, so I'm trying to slow down a little bit. And let's see. Yeah, here's the one. Augustin Rivera Jr. Billed out, and let's see if there's even a date on this thing. It's about December 16th, approved by Miss Tammy McDonald. Okay, I don't know why she's involved with this as the legal expert over there, but this is the total bill now due as of that date was $34,072.50. Okay. So what can I tell you, folks? Here it is. And then in addition to that, on the 27th of January 2015, we've got $4,147 check, and I think that was about it. I don't see any more in here, but that's not a bad day's work. So I didn't even get a Christmas card with that, since a lot of that stuff is due to the my efforts to get some truth out of Del Mar College, which is almost impossible. Okay, so we've got thousands and thousands of dollars going out in legal fees. Now, one thing that burns me up is Graves Daughtry out of Austin. All of this shenanigans we've got over here with contracts for bonds and so forth, and the purchasing and so forth of that 95 acres out there that they want to put that south side campus out there. A lot of that could have been done in town. And then you remember last show I indicated that the city, in all their infinite wisdom, has spent $3.5 million just in 2014 alone, from January 1 to December 31st, for attorneys outside of the city. Now, I don't know what expertise they have that we can't find somebody locally to do. I doubt if it's anything. And I don't know why the taxpayers of this city and this college district and stuff have to suffer with a lot of that money going out by the bucket loads, because Del Mar College won't, they're not going to provide me with the information I want, nor Mr. Bennett, and they just keep horsing around with it, and they delay this and they delay that. So I'm finished finals last week. This is Sunday. This next week, all I have to do is go over to the lab a couple of days and work on some stuff, but and get cleaned up for the summer. And I do have a hearing tomorrow that I have. It's an appeals hearing because I've got a department chair and a dean that have a favorite son over there, and since I've ruffled some feathers lately, I guess, and I'm not going to knuckle under to any of those people over there and be subservient when it's not necessary, it's not called for, and then gross lies are told about me in the form of a disciplinary action memo that they want to stick in my file, then we're going to see how much that's going to cost the taxpayers. And then as far as Del Mar goes, again today, Nick Jimenez came out with Del Mar Regents Unite for Students. What his whole gist is he's down Mr. Guy Watts' back about wanting to have exclusive prepared students out on the south side campus. Now, I'm not going to stick up for Mr. Watts in any other vein, except he has full right to express his opinion. And since he is an elected regent at Del Mar College, then I think that he has the right to indicate that he would like to have certain things done. But at Del Mar College and at the city of Corpus Christi and the county to a certain degree, the Neville brothers were right when they said it's freedom of speech as long as you don't say too much. So think about that one. So Mr. Jimenez, I think you need to get off your high horse there. And you know, I think it's great that you think that the other 8 Board of Regents members are just wonderful. I've got a whole different view of those people over there. I've been watching them for years now. And I must tell the public out there, I am not impressed. And then we keep pushing for this Southside campus. It didn't go on the bond this last time. That would have really, I think, killed all the bonds. You people out there did vote to have give $157 million to Del Mar for improvements on East and West campuses as they stand now. But I think $1.8 million of that is still being slated to go into developing the plans and so forth for that Southside campus. Now, the reason that I'm told that we need that Southside campus, and you are, we've got our president, Dr. Mark Escamilla, running around to all these neighborhoods and so forth, and meetings here and meetings there, pitching that Southside campus. And the last time they had a retreat to discuss that, the retreat was held down at the town club from 8 a.m. in the morning until I think 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So how much did that cost you taxpayers to do that when they could have sat in the boardroom and had you know, bought their own food and beverages over there, rather than I'm going to ask for the bill of what it costs to put on that retreat and then have other people there, okay? The city fathers and leaders and so forth and so on. Now, we're told that the reason we need that Southside campus is that we are bursting at the seams with students on East and West. And I have not found any documents at all that would back that up. Okay, I found just the opposite. And they say with the Eagle Ford shale going like mad, this is going to be a, you know, a boom town for a long, long time, and we're going to need that for, and we need that wind farm property out there for subdivisions to build a bunch of infrastructure that we're going to have to pay for and can't pay for what we've got. But today's paper also, on the front page, it says oil drop slows economy. Texas jobs still growing faster than the U.S. average, but folks, they're not growing down here in Corpus Christi, Texas, because they're talking about the Permian Basin oil fields going south, and also the Eagle Ford shale. So I don't know who's pulling your leg and why they keep doing it, but you know, it's a bit concerning to me. And then I've got some letters that Mr. Bennett wrote in reference to the monies that we have written off. And let's see, and the write-off in 2007 was $67,190. The 2008 was $1,444,407. 2009 was $125,256. 2010 was a slack year. It's only $26,925. And then 2011 we had $195,895. And then 2012 was $487,922. And then 13 was $243,148. And then 2014 wound up with just under $250,000 at $247,584. And most of that, folks, I've seen a lot of the records that we have been able to force, and I'll say force, out of Del Mar College, indicate that entities like Texas A&M University, Kingsville, was written off for $54,000. The Navy was written off at $42,000. The Council of Governments around here, Coastal Bend Council of Governments, was $89,000. And the beat goes on, folks. And then we found some small ones like Verizon communications and so forth for a little over $1,000. And when they were contacted by us, they said, well, you know, we paid that bill, so why are we written off? And that's my question as a taxpayer. So, you know, why are you people so bloomin' cavalier with my money and think that I'm not going to say something about it? Now, all of this stuff pertaining to that and some dismissal hearings and other things at Del Mar College have precipitated this, I'm just going to say, making a run on getting rid of me at Del Mar College, because I have the unmitigated gall to not know that it's freedom of speech as long as you don't say too much. And I don't ever remember in my contract where I signed away my First Amendment rights or any constitutional rights when I signed that contract of employment with Del Mar College. I just don't remember it being in the verbiage, because I read the contract very carefully. And since I have taken to task the favoritism that goes on in my department, the Natural Sciences Department, and got tired of listening to my department chair jump up and down and say things about one of the faculty members that were not real flattering, and explaining time after time after time that he does not answer emails. He goes right straight around his authority to the dean, and she takes care of him, okay? And so now I'm accused of not responding to the emails. I've asked for those emails that I did not respond to, and others that the other person or two or three that has not responded to the emails. And I get this letter from the Graves Daughtry crowd stating that my request cannot be honored because my appeal for that disciplinary action letter hearing is a quasi-judicial forum, and therefore I can't get any documents I need to defend myself. Now, I don't think they exist, to tell you the truth. And then I was accused of some other rotten things by my department chair. Okay? For instance, I was supposed to take over, I guess, a committee. It's a program review committee in physics, and he said that I wouldn't return any information to him at all, which is absolute hogwash. I certainly did. But, you know, I just quit talking to him. I said, I don't trust you. I don't have any faith in you. I have no respect for you. And therefore, if you want to talk to me verbally, then it's going to be in front of a witness. So I was written up for not wanting to talk to him, but I wanted to answer everything in email or in written form. So I don't know what to tell you, folks. We got a real problem. And then I'm going to update you on the Friends of the Coliseum. That's this Mr. Risley again, Miles Risley. And he's worse than Carlos Valdez ever thought of being. And that's pretty bad, folks. So all I can say, if the city wants to pursue this, then we're going to see if they can finally read the one sentence in the contract, or two sentences in the A&R demolition and city contract for demolition, the fact that if a court-ordered halt in the demolition occurred, then nobody was suffer any damages. But they're after me and 4 others for damages, in spite of them not being able to read that contract. Now, I think the time's winding down, so good night. That ought to make them happy, Ed. So I hope I was calm enough and not jumping up and down, frothing at the mouth. So we'll go turn that camera off.